I'm Ryan Erickson, and this is Project Syncro. So the car started as a 1987 Volkswagen Golf GTI. Got the shell from a friend of ours for nothing, and it had a little bit of rust on it, so decided to start and put new floor pans in it. Knew I wanted to do a race car from the start, and I thought it was going to be a front-wheel drive Group 2 rally car. So went down that path and built my own air-over-hydraulic tube bender so that I could start building the roll cage. When I started building the roll cage, I got this wild idea that, hey, wouldn't that be cool if I built a Syncro Golf, like an all-wheel drive car. It was kind of a one-off deal that Volkswagen made the Rally Golf, and they competed in the WRC with it for 1 year. We got a few of them in the US for people like Tim O'Neill to run, and he kind of enjoyed it. I talked to him a little bit about it, and he said there's some things to fix and some things that weren't that great. But basically said I've never been a fan of Subarus, so I thought I would make a car to compete in the open light class, which is absolutely, it's not only is it dominated by Subarus, but it's designed for Subarus. So I found a drivetrain out of a G60 Syncro Passat located in Canada. I had to go search around and find one that was across the border because that G60 Syncro was never a car that was offered in the United States. I didn't feel that there was any demand for it. So the United States never saw an all-wheel drive Volkswagen in the mid to late 80s like Germany or like Canada did with the Syncro Passat. So I had the drivetrain shipped down here and cleaned it up and went through the process of swapping it into the car. That in and of itself is not too bad. Pretty much everything bolts up, but things like drive shafts had to be shortened. I had to make hangers for the drive shafts, change the subframe mounts around a little, which all took a little bit of time. The biggest part was that you couldn't retain the stock Golf two-wheel drive fuel tank. So I found an FIA fuel cell very similar to the ones that you would see in NASCAR or any of the WRC cars, something like that, and retrofitted it into this shell. So it actually has a bespoke subframe in the back that holds that whole fuel cell in, and hopefully in the event of a wreck, I'm never going to have a situation where that gets punctured or where fuel leaks anywhere. So once I kind of paused my cage build, retrofitted the car to be all-wheel drive, I got back to work on the cage, enlisted the help of some friends, none of which who ever really built a roll cage, and we went through the FIA rules and figured it out. A couple months later, had the roll cage pretty much done, and you would think, oh, you finished the roll cage, you finished the all-wheel drive swap, go ahead and paint it. It's not really that easy. Kind of sit down and think, what are the other things that I need to put in the car? I need to put seats in the car, I need steering in the car, I need a shifter in the car, I need a battery mounted someplace different, I did a different power steering pump, things like roof vents, pedal boxes. There's just a myriad of things that you need to make these little mounts for, and I never thought it would be such a big deal to go through and make all of these little mounts, but I probably spent upwards of 2 to 3 months churning through this checklist of all of the things I needed to do before I prepared the car for paint. So once that's finished, started getting rid of all the surface rust and all the remaining seam sealer and whatnot on the car to get it ready for paint, which is sounds easier than it is, as the car's been sitting here in the shop for a year and a half now. It's fairly humid here in the Midwest, so there's a bit of surface rust on the car. I think that's almost understating it. There's surface rust all over, and I'm just now starting the process of sanding all that surface rust down and getting all the surfaces ready to paint. I've never painted a car before. I have a couple of friends who have painted their rally car before that I went to for advice, and they we kind of put our heads together and figured out just exactly what I wanted to paint it with, what color it needed to be, how I wanted to prime it. Kind of came up with a bit of a workflow. So I just got my epoxy paint in recently. I decided I'm going to epoxy the car, white epoxy inside and out. So I have hopefully a more durable finish than like a single stage or a two-stage normal kind of automotive paint. Rally cars kind of go through the ringer a lot when they're on the stage, beat up inside and out with rocks and dirt and sand, just assaulted from every angle. And you want to have the most durable coating on there you can. So just one notch below coating the car and bed liner, I've decided to go with an epoxy paint, which is what you see on construction equipment or big industrial machinery. So ordered the paint, and it had to come through an industrial supplier, and we're going to paint the thing like it's a backhoe pretty much. So we'll see how this shapes up over the next couple of days here as I get this thing sanded down and ready to prime and paint. Next week on Project Syncro. Very little.